My Hero Academia Chapter 420 is finally out, and with it we learn about the fates of Aizawa, Present Mic, and Kurogiri after their fatal fall and disappearance, as well as a twist in this final battle that may just change ERI forever. And so, without further ado, let's jump right into My Hero Academia Chapter 420, titled From Aizawa. This chapter opens up with a flashback to both Aizawa and Present Mic being warped away from the battlefield alongside Kurogiri to an extremely small, isolated island in the middle of the sea. On this island, Present Mic, furious at the being before him, aggressively holds up Kurogiri by his shirt, demanding for his friend to just wake up. When he gets no response, however, Mic continues, saying that it was wrong for Shirakumo's corpse to be violated the way it was. And, with tears in his eyes, he raises his fist, ready to attack the currently motionless body. Before he can, however, he is stopped by Aizawa, who notes that his friend is crying. But despite the tears clearly in his eyes, Present Mic refutes this claim, saying that he's not crying because men don't cry. That's some toxic masculinity right there. But Aizawa corrects Present Mic, stating that he wasn't talking about him. He was talking about Kurogiri. Present Mic then looks at Kurogiri and notices the water droplets running down the being's face. Unconvinced, or maybe just in disbelief, Present Mic claims that it's impossible for Kurogiri to cry since he is a Nomu, so it must just be the rain. He then turns to Aizawa and, with an honestly realistic reaction, tells his friend they shouldn't expect another miracle like the one that happened at Tartarus. They are 31 years old now and no longer the wondrous, bright-eyed, naive second years they once were at UA. However, Aizawa, actually being the most optimistic one in this duo, explains that while they are older, Shirakumo died while he was still a bright-eyed student. This, accompanied by the fact that he went out of his way to warp and save them from falling to their demise, makes Aizawa believe there is more to Kurogiri than Present Mic realizes. Aizawa then goes on to say that together, the two of them managed to generate a white spark of hope, Shirakumo, inside the darkness of Kurogiri, and that spark has now permanently made itself a part of this being. Although, as Aizawa puts his hand onto Kurogiri's face, where we once again see a bit of Shirakumo's original body coming true, he admits that due to the nature of the being before them, he will never be 100% Shirakumo again. But he will also never be 100% Kurogiri. Right now, he's just a confused student looking for guidance. And as teachers of UA, it is their duty to provide guidance for students until they're ready to graduate and to make sure they never forget their origins. Aizawa then takes his hands away from Kurogiri, and as his warp gate smoke starts to spread around the trio, Kurogiri calls out Yamada, Present Mic's name, causing Mic to bow his head, now letting his tears out for uttering the words, "Memories never die." Following this, the story then briefly cuts back to the police headquarters, where Aizawa, through a communication device, talks with Tsukauchi and learns, 1. that Monoma has suffered a serious head injury, is completely out of this fight, and 2. the location and number of all active heroes still capable of fighting. The story then cuts once again, this time to Aizawa warping right into the underground UA shelter, where he quickly informs Ectoplasm that they have regained access to Kurogiri's warp quirk. Aizawa then explains that they currently have Kurogiri fighting on their side, but he's not sure for how long, so he wants to use this time to gather up as many heroes as he can in the shortest time possible, and get them all back in the fight together. Immediately after stating this, both heroes, retired heroes, and civilians alike all jump forward and offer to help Aizawa in any way they can. As we see people like Vet Arms and a person who looks looks awfully similar to Astro, the main protagonist from the manga Barrage, Horikoshi's previous manga, offered to fight, as well as civilians like the one who initially refused Midoriya entry back into UA, taking off their clothes, whoa, and offering them to help to treat the hero's wounds. Oh, that makes sense. Things were getting awful sexy for a hot minute there. Following this, the story then cuts once again, this time, finally, to Takoba, where we see heroes like Sero, Sato, and 13 battling it out with the powerful Tartarus villain, Gashly. We finally get to see this villain and fight in all of its glory. Oh my god, we've been waiting for this for so long. We're going to get, and Aizawa and the others have teleported in and ended it instantly. Hey, at least we got this cool-ass shot of Aizawa saying, Phase 3 of the Divide and Conquer operation, start. And with all of this, the story finally cuts right back to the present, and where the last chapter left off, as we see multiple Warp Gate portals appear all around All For One and Midoriya, dropping in heroes all over the battlefield, giving off major Avengers Endgame vibes. Aizawa, now beside Midoriya, asks his student how long it's been since he lost his arms, to which Midoriya replies that he actually doesn't know, as it all happened in the imaginary world. It's also important to note here that Midoriya goes on to say that previously, when All For One took over Shigaraki's body, he could feel Shiggy fighting for control the entire time, but now he can't feel Shigaraki's presence at all. But anyways, Aizawa, looking at his broken and armless student, reaches into his pocket and, in a bit of a twist, pulls out ERI'S horn. As a flashback reveals that while Aizawa was gathering troops in the underground shelter, Eri, aware that she couldn't go to the battlefield herself, but also that her power was needed, took inspiration from Aizawa and did what she believed was the most rational thing to do, and tore off her horn in the hopes that it would help. Aizawa, worried for his essentially adopted daughter, warns Eri that while what she did was based on rationale, it was also crazy, as this could lead to permanent damage to her quirk. But Eri, determined with her decision, reiterates that she wants to help, and she hopes that this may also help the likes of heroes such as Kacchan and All Might. Aw, she calls him Kacchan too. In this moment, Eri then reveals to us and Aizawa that her dream is to sing just like Jiro. And after all of this is done and this war is over, she wants to sing so Midoriya and everyone else can have fun again. That's just so adorable. And with this, we see back in the present, Aizawa, making full use of Eri's sacrifice, pierces Midoriya with her horn, causing his body to revert backward very slowly due to the little amount of energy that was actually in the horn, returning his arms bit by bit. Bye-bye, consequences. You will be missed. And with this, Aizawa informs Midoriya that he can't die until he hears Eri singing, as we see joining in on this fight through a portal behind them is Kaminari, Mineta, Shoji, Koda, and Momo, who are all exhausted and hurt in their own right, but still willing to fight just like Midoriya. And that's it for chapter 420. If you liked this video, don't forget to leave a like. For more content like this, subscribe to the Lunchtime crew. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. It's lunchtime.